Let's now talk about creating the exploded view, and I'm going to use this drawer assembly for making that exploded view. Now before we do that, just look at this feature tree, and as you can see we have a lot of components here, and most of these components are hinges and screws, so basically the repetitive components. Now let's group them together into separate folders. And I'm going to start with this drawer screw. As you can see, we have drawer screw 1 to 6. So 6 of these screws, 3 here on 3 on that side. So I'll select all of these 6 screws. So select the first one, then press and hold shift and select this last screw. Then right click and go to this option, add to new folder. Now give it a name. I'll call it drawer screw and press enter. Now we have similarly the hinge screws, and there are 24 of these. So I'll select the first one, press and hold shift key and then click on this 24th one. Again, everything is selected. So right click, add to new folder, and that's hinge screw. All right. Now we have this hinge assembly. We can put it also into a single folder. So select this and select assembly number 4, right click, add to a new folder. All right. Now it is much more manageable, but still the folders are spread out to different locations. Let's again systematically place these things, and you can actually move these feature elements in this feature tree. So what I'm going to do is I'll drag this hinge element and I'll just move it right here, right on top of this hinge screw, and also this drawer component is right here. So I'll just select it and drag and drop it underneath this right door component. Now the feature tree also looks well better. So the feature tree is arranged. Now we are ready to explode this assembly. Now to explode this, go to this exploded view, and here we have two options. You can start with step explode or radial explode. For now, let's select this step explode. Now this will let you select components and then you can explode it in XYZ direction, or you can also explode it and move the components along any selected direction, or you can also move it on an angle. But for that, first we need to select the components. So I'm going to start with these door panels. So I'll select these two panels, and now the triad will show up with XYZ axis, and also we have these triads for rotating it to different axes. I'm just going to select this axis here, X axis, and I'll move it out just like that. Once you are done with that, click on done, and here is our first step. Now the first explode step is added here in the explode steps window. So all the steps will show up here, and you can later go back to this and edit it anytime you want. Now let's add the second step. In the second step, I'll select this drawer. I'll move it out as well. Maybe I'll just leave it like so and click on done. Now we'll move all of these other panels. So I'll select this top one and move it up. Done. Click on this back panel, move it back and click on done. And then we have these two side panels. Now these two panels should be moved in the respective direction, and you can do it one by one, or now you can use this radial option. So in this case, I'll select this radial step. This will let you move all the components away from the center, so all the selected components, and that's the kind of motion that we want here. So I'll select this one and this one, and now we have just one arrow. Move it, and now they are going to spread out just like so. Click on done, and we are done with this. All right, so we have two more panels to take care of. Now we'll do that in two steps. First, I'll go to this step option, and then I'll select the bottom panel. I'll move it slightly down. Done. Again, I'll select it, and now I'll move it back and done. Now I'll do the same with this one. So I'll select it, I'll move it up, and I'll click on done, and then I'll select it again. I'll move it back and done. All right, so we have done this. Now we have this subassembly and this one, and also some subassemblies right here, which we'll take care of. But before doing that, let's see how this exploded view is going to look like. So we have made several changes, and now with these steps, I'm simply going to click OK. And our exploded step is created. Now, if you want to see this explode in action, the explode view, then you can go to this feature tree, the top level, right click and just select animate collapse. And here we are. So it will repeat all the steps exactly the way we did it. Although we still have a lot of work to do here, which we'll do in a moment, but that's how it works. Also, we have an animation controller, and using this, you can play this animation again. You can move it back to previous step. You can move it to the starting point. You can move forward to the next step, or you can just move to the end of this animation, or you can just play it again. You can also click on loop and the animation will keep on playing in loop, or you can just reciprocate this motion using this reciprocate option, just like so. And here it will close and open again. Also, right now this animation is playing at half the speed, but you can make it twice simply by clicking this, and now the reciprocating motion will be at twice the speed. I'll just change it to the single playback mode. Alright, now we have an option of saving this complete animation as a video file. So if you want to save this, then you can click here. But before we do that, I'm going to select this slow play mode, and now it will play for 8 seconds. With the fast mode, it will just create a playback time of 2 seconds. I'll just select slow mode and click on save. Now here we can save it as AVI, FLV, MKV, MP4 formats. I'm going to select MP4 and I'll give it this name, fullassembly.mp4 file. You can select an aspect ratio, or you can select from existing predefined aspect ratios. You can also add number of frames. Now, higher the number of frame, better will be the quality, and it just depends on you, whatever the frame number you want. But do remember that with higher frame rate, the video file size will be larger as well. In this case, I'll select 15 frames per second. Alright, now currently we're using fixed aspect ratio, but if you don't want to, you can uncheck this and specify your own aspect ratios. I'll just check this one and click on save. And here we are. We're getting our video file and we are done. The video file is now created. If you want to see how it looks, then here it is. So here's the video file. Alright, so I'll close it. Now, this exploded view is saved in the configuration manager. So here in the configuration manager, if you expand the default configuration, you'll see the exploded view. So you can double click and the exploded view will show up. If you want to go back to the collapsed view, well, you can just go to this one, the main feature tree. You can right click here and select collapse, and it will just collapse to the default view. If you want to modify this existing exploded view, then you can go to this configuration manager, select the exploded view, right click and click on edit feature. This will let you go back to this, and from here you can again continue with your modification. So far we have added 9 steps, but now we'll add more steps to make it, well, even more detailed kind of exploded view.